What is up, good people? Happy Monday. Happy Mindful Monday. So, today's topic, I wanted to talk a little bit about perfectionism because I never considered myself a perfectionist. My definition of being a perfectionist was a person who just never stops until they get it to this perfect level, which never happens because nothing is ever perfect. So in my mind, I always thought that it was the person who would never, like, for example, I'm a songwriter, right? So if I were a perfectionist, that means that when I'm writing my songs, I'm doing them over and over again because, oh, well, this could be a little bit better. I'm not putting out this song until it's perfect. Or if you are, if I guess if you're on a fitness journey and you have in your mind this idea of what the perfect body looks like, you will you just keep going because it's never enough. It's never enough. I see this little piece of fat here on the side of my hip and I don't like it. So like in my mind, I always thought a perfectionist was just somebody who just was never satisfied. I never considered myself a perfectionist because I will put out stuff imperfect. I will sit and be like, nope, don't have time to sit and mull over this 50 million times. I'm gonna put it out. So I didn't consider myself a perfectionist, but I've been called that by a couple of different people in my life. And so I decided to look into that a little bit more deeply. And I realized that perfectionism, I guess, has kind of a nuanced definition. It's not just one thing. Like perfectionism can look like different things. So in my life, when I have goals that I'm trying to accomplish, it's hard for me to celebrate myself or really recognize significant progress because I always tend to look to see how far I have to go as opposed to how far I've come. And in my mind, this is an example of a limiting belief. In my mind, that wasn't perfectionism because it wasn't worded the same way that I have seen the definition of perfectionism worded. So I was like, oh no, that's not me. But I've had a couple of my Spanish teachers call me out on being a perfectionist because I feel like when I speak Spanish, I'm always very critical of the way my accent sounds and oh, I didn't say this word, and oh, I should know this by now, this, that, and the other. And so I was talking to one of my Spanish teachers, and she was like, yeah, perfectionist. And so it caused me to dive a little deeper into that word and really check the limiting belief that I have behind it. And I guess my limiting belief is that if I haven't accomplished the goal, there's nothing to celebrate yet. And I don't consciously say that to myself, but that's what I subconsciously believe because that's what stops me from celebrating. It's like when other people look at my life and they're like, oh, but you did this and you did that and you did that. I see it as, yeah, but I'm still this many, months, yards, feet, miles from hitting this target. And I realized that that's not the way that I actually want to approach what I'm doing. I tell you guys all the time about celebrating, acknowledging your progress. And I am struggling with acknowledging my progress because I have the limiting belief that if I haven't reached the goal, then I can't celebrate yet. So I am going to start tackling that. And I guess in real time, if I'm going to put together an empowering belief to replace that limiting belief, is that I may not have gotten to, this isn't the way I'm going to do the empowerment statement because I don't want to acknowledge the lack, I want to acknowledge the growth. So leaving out the how far I have to go part, I have made significant progress in whatever this goal is. So in Spanish, I can say something like, I can speak with a person in Spanish for at least a half an hour. And that is an accomplishment, because a few years ago, I couldn't speak in Spanish and have a consistent conversation. I might still struggle in speaking it, but there is a difference between me speaking Spanish now and me speaking Spanish in 2020. So, to help me to not focus on what I haven't accomplished, I'm going to focus on what I did accomplish. And so, in Spanish, in my business, in my fitness, I am going to consciously choose to say statements like, I have reached whatever the milestone is. I have accomplished this much more than I did in whatever year. Look at how I've grown. And I'm going to focus more on not focusing so much in the future, but focus on what I have done today, to date, and notice the accomplishments that I have done to date. So that is how I'm going to battle this limiting belief that I have around perfectionism, apparently. So, bringing all that up to say that if you are a person who is struggling with perfectionism, one, I see you and I feel you, but two, also to challenge you to flip that mindset, because it is not healthy to beat yourself up over the goal that you didn't hit. It is more helpful to you and more motivation for you to acknowledge how far you have come, to encourage you to keep going. Yes, analyze, make the tweaks, do the things, but know that you have made progress. Know that you are not the same person, you are not the same level as what you were 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. Acknowledge that progress. Acknowledge it. That is my Monday mindfulness tip for you today. I hope you guys have a great and productive week, and I will see you on the next one.